Happy Hump Day. This is the John McEntyre Show. I'm John McEntyre. This is John McEntyre Live. Have to make sure we get that right. We're live. And today is another hot June 26, 2024. Almost said 2014. I was reading something earlier this morning. It was from 2014. And so I saw 2014 so much, I almost said it. But yeah, today is 2024, another hot day. Uh, and we have a show today. We're going to be answering a question about IRAs. Well, someone's trying to choose between a traditional or a Roth IRA. But you know the routine. We're going to cover some wallet wins. Then we'll get into the question, do the question of the day. Then we can go about trying to stay cool for the rest of the day. So, wallet win number one, celebrating my third month on a budget and everything is working. And it was quite a few exclamation points behind it. So, yeah, that's the rule. That's what I've always suggested. That's what worked for me. That's what worked for people I worked with. Give it 3 months. Give pretty much give anything 3 months, especially with this because budgeting is a serious habit. It's a behavior, and you probably heard out there with professionals, especially with behavioral finance, that uh, money, pretty much anything, any type of behavior change takes around 90 days because behavior, especially handling money or handling anything really, is 80%, mental behavior, 20% when it comes to money, math and your method. And that's what I've been saying it for a long time, pretty much since before 2014. See, I did that to keep that 2014 thing going. But yeah, money management, it really is. It's 80% behavioral, 20%, well, I say 80% behavioral, 10% math, 10% method, the method that you use. It's mindset, method, and your money. And so, yeah, so it takes around 90 days for things to get to really stick. And interesting fact, in another area of life, I was talking to a fitness coach, mainly, well, really a doctor that is a fitness coach, and we were talking about metabolism and weight loss. And I know you're wondering, what in the world does that have to do with anything about money? Well, it's really about behavioral change, and you understand what I'm saying here when it comes to a budget. You lose weight, you have to maintain that weight, your goal weight. You have to maintain it for 90 days for the metabolism to recalibrate and accept that that's your new weight. So that's why I apply it over here to finance. Once you've done something for 90 days, subconsciously you accept it and it becomes your new norm. It's your new truth where, whatever you're trying to change, it becomes the new for you, becomes accepted. So then if something happens and, you fall off the wagon or you go away from it for a little while, it'll be easier to come back to it because you've done it and it has accepted that as the new. So it's like your new ceiling. And so that's why I've always said, especially with budgeting, follow it, give it 3 months to really, really work, and for you to accept it. So that's wallet win number one. Wallet win number two, I canceled a couple of unused memberships. I'm using that money to pay down debt. Uh, that's a big one. That's a reminder. That's a daily reminder. That's one of those where you could ask that question every day. Have you checked new memberships? Have you checked things that you're not using? Um, because that can free up a lot of money. I know in our household, well, me personally, gave up three things and freed up over $100 just right there. Then Andrea, she stepped in and she took it to a new level, up over almost $400, something like that. And so yeah, that can really affect the wallet in a positive way, going into those unused subscriptions and memberships, things like that. So yeah, that's a big win. Wallet win number 3, this person seemed very excited, had the extra money to sponsor a friend's missionary trip. So yeah, that's huge. Uh, I've talked to quite a few people. We've done a lot of counseling and coaching in the church. It's basically what we really started counseling. Then it's went out into the general public, and that was a lot of people's goals was to either go on a missionary trip, have the money to go, or to help sponsor people going on missionary trips. So I'm excited for this person to know that they've actually, you can tell this was a values thing. It was very important for them to be involved in missionary, because not all of us were created to go on missionary trips, even though it wouldn't hurt for each person to go on a missionary trip, go to different countries, see how things work. Um, but a lot of people were just created to support, finance, give the support to the person that was really created to do the missionary work. Because it takes a special person to do missionary work. I hear the stories all the time, and I'm like, no, I wouldn't last. I would last maybe a week. I probably could do it. I could do it a week, and if the right people around me, I maybe can go a month. But after that, um, that little child diva in me, like, if I don't get air conditioning, and if I don't get this, if I don't get that, I'm not gonna make it. Where some people, you send them and they can stay, they can be missionaries for years and will be perfectly fine. We know people that have had families, started families on missionary trips, like raised, left as a newlywed couple, came back 2 or 3 children, and the children, are fine, and they're built to be missionaries and everything. So yeah, um, put me on this one. I would get excited. I'm excited for this person because they had the extra money to sponsor a friend's missionary trip. So yeah, that's me. Yeah. So 3 good wallet wins there. Celebrated my 3rd month on a budget and everything is working. Canceled a couple of unused memberships, paying down debt. Had the extra money to sponsor a friend's missionary trip. 3 excellent wallet wins. And share your wallet wins. If you have one, if you're watching and you have a wallet win, go into the comment section, chat section, put in hashtag wallet wins. We see it, we'll share it. If you have a question, go into the same space, put a Q beside it. We'll see it. We'll do our best to answer this question, because I have a question to answer, but I'm always up to answer more. Uh, so let's get into this question. So the question is, I am ready to open a retirement account, and I want to know if I should open a Roth or a traditional IRA, which is IRA, individual retirement account. Okay, so based on this question, I take it that this is their first account, probably a retirement account. Um, and I'm going to answer the question with the question, then I'll go into the answer. Basically, they're asking about the Roth or the traditional IRA. So my question is, how do you want to pay taxes with this account? Because in America, pretty much, and it's spilled over to the rest of the world, 2 things, it used to be said, that's what Americans always said, 2 things in America: death and taxes. That's pretty much around the world now. But it still is. It's just as true today as it has always been. America was built off the taxation of the people. So you're going to pay taxes. How and when is up to you, especially when it comes to retirement accounts. So now, I've asked that question: how do you want to pay taxes? If you chose a traditional IRA, excuse me, that means you're deferring taxes. You're going to pay taxes later. You're putting money into an account. Um, you're getting an actual write-off, tax deductible contributions to the traditional. We're talking about the traditional IRA. So you're making a tax deductible, tax deferred contribution to the IRA. That depends on the income and we have to take this into an account also. It takes into an account income, and also if you have, this person seems like this is their first one, but for some you may have a 401k or something like that at your workplace or something. So you want to, if you're being matched, max that out first, then come over to the IRA where you can make more contributions. And so it depends on the income, and let me make a disclosure. I've always disclosed, um, we do our best to answer the questions as correctly as possible, but we're not tax advisors. So when you get into these accounts, this is very sensitive, and it's very important that you talk with someone, an accountant, a CPA, well versed in IRAs, needs to be in the picture right off the gate. So call one. This is just to get you going in the right direction, just to give you some, just to give you a couple of points on each one, the advantages and a couple of disadvantages. But bring that tax person into the picture so that they can really look at what you're doing, because you could answer the questions right off the surface and say, okay, well, a traditional would be better for me. But you talk to a CPA, they may say, well, no, it might be better for you to do a Roth IRA. So take that into an account. The reason why I said, taxes is because it's how you contribute and how you withdraw the money. Traditional IRA, you're doing tax deferred, which is to say later on when it's time to do withdrawals, that's when you're going to be taxed. This money is going to be taxed withdrawal when you start taking your distribution, your retired minimum distribution, RMD. Well, with the traditional, you're going to be taxed at your with the traditional. Let me get it right. With the traditional, you won't be taxed because you've already. I'm sorry. You will be taxed. You will be taxed at that current tax rate. You will be taxed at the time of retirement. When you start taking your distribution, that's the tax rate you will pay the money on. So if you plan to be wealthier later on in life, then the traditional may not be the best route for you, because you could pay more taxes on it then than you would have paid now. So that's why I say taxes are very important. And those are really the three. With both of them, your contribution is pretty much the same. Before age 50 is 7,000 maximized. After 50 is 8,000. You can make $8,000 a year per year contribution, and it also depends on, well, traditional doesn't depend on income. We'll talk about that when we get into the Roth. Which those are the three main points to take into consideration. Um, it's going to be tax deferred, be tax deductible. Talk to your tax planner, CPA. Um, it also depends on if you have other accounts. That has to be taken into an account, and you withdraw of your pre-tax contributions. Since you made your contributions while you were working, pre-tax was taken out before you received your pay. It's going to be taxed at that tax rate at your retirement age. So take that into an account. Now let's go into the Roth IRA. Your contributions aren't tax deductible because you're making them after tax. Your taxes are taken out of your pay, so you're making contributions from your net income. So when you take your distributions, 59 and a half, you can take them before then, within certain parameters. But when you take them then, you've already paid taxes, so it's tax-free distribution. You're not paying any taxes. You may pay taxes on the growth. You'll pay taxes on the growth, but you won't pay. Say for instance, you've put in. Let's just give a round number, 50,000. You won't pay taxes on the 50,000 again. You've already paid taxes on that, so you're just going to be taxed on the growth, and that can be taken, you can take that into an account as you move on into life, because some people they've been in Roths and they rolled over to traditional. Some have been in traditional, they rolled over to Roths as they move forward in life. But In a perfect world, things work out like it should. You're going to pay less taxes. I know someone who actually moved to a state that had no income tax. That was taken into an account. That's why a CPA is so important in these particular situations. Well, your withdrawals, your earnings are taxed as current income, so it's taxed today. You'll just be taxed on the growth at that particular tax rate. But it usually works out to where you're paying less taxes because of just paying on the growth. So if with the traditional, if you plan on being in a lower tax bracket at retirement, that's your traditional is the route. Plan on being in a higher tax bracket, might be better to have some of the money taxed now than all of it taxed later. So that's why I asked the question, how do you want to be taxed? And there's no income limitation with the traditional. There is income limitations with the Roth, because the Roth it does provide a lot more benefits, and so the government, to keep it from being used like really really used to the maximum, they had to start capping things with income. So that's why I say you have to talk. You can do the research. There's a lot of it online. I like Charles Schwab. I like Schwab. Go to schwab.com. Charles Schwab. They're very educational driven. Vanguard, very educational. I'm not being compensated by any of these companies. These are just the companies that we've used, and we value their education. And so those would be good to go and check out to get much deeper for your situation. And it is time to talk to a professional with this particular situation, especially if you may be in a field to where your income is going to like get really really high, and it may come a point to where you don't qualify for a Roth. So you need to be with a tax professional that'll help you navigate those waters. Uh, and so that's where I would stop, just to make sure to stress again, I'm not a tax accountant. This is not tax advice, but I am stressing that's the real reason for the use of an IRA, a traditional versus a Roth, or vice versa. It's the tax, the tax breaks that you would receive in those particular situations. And there are other IRAs out there, so as you're talking to a tax planner or a tax advisor, they may say, yes, you've done what you could do with the Roth or the traditional, and now it's maybe time to look into these other ones, and they're very technical. It's not for a do-it-yourselfer. Definitely not for those people. And so hopefully I answered the question. I answered to the best of my ability to keep it as simple as possible here, because that's what we want to do, is keep it simple and to guide you in the right direction. And I'm only going to say it one more time. Make sure you talk to a tax advisor. And if you don't know a tax advisor, call me. We have advisors in our advisor network that we can refer you to, that you can talk to someone. So you can contact us and we'll point you in the right direction. Uh, so with that being said, with the IRAs, with how things happen on the back end, your retirement lifestyle will dictate things on the benefits of the Roth or the traditional IRA. So that leads me to the question of the day. Do you plan on having an increasing lifestyle or a decreasing lifestyle in retirement? Because as you can tell, that ties into the actual IRA. If you plan on getting wealthier and wealthier, then this is an IRA for you. Roth, leaning towards a Roth. We know quite a few people who end up on like a fixed income in retirement. So traditional may be the best route for them. So that's why I have the question of the day worded: do you plan on having an increasing lifestyle or a decreasing lifestyle? Um, and that is it. So if you have any more questions, contact us. If you want guidance, maybe time for that financial checkup, contact us, give us a call, or go to the website, johnmcintyre.com, and reach out to us. questions, comments, share your wallet wins. And till tomorrow, this is John McEntyre signing out.